Hey everyone, thanks for joining. Crypto Vatsik here. If you enjoyed this content, I would really appreciate it if you supported the channel by liking and subscribing. Nothing of what you're about to see is considered financial advice. These are my opinions only. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so today's video is going to be a super quick update on Bitcoin and some high time frame and low time frame stuff. We're getting into an interesting point in the market where there's a lot of indecision around if we've bottomed yet or not. I think either way, this is going to take some time to play out for me. It's definitely worth, in my opinion, taking a stab at potentially a cycle bottom. For me, if there's even a chance that we're close to it, I always say that I'm going to start dollar cost averaging and DCA into some positions, right? Not throwing everything at it, but if there's the potential that this is the cycle bottom, then for me, that's worth the risk to start DCAing, and that's what I'm doing. So, anyways, let's get into it and see what I'm seeing at the moment when we zoom in a bit. Okay, so obviously what we're seeing at first right now, just off first glance, is this range that we had basically between 20 just over 24,000 down to our macro bottom just under 19,000, so 18.6 kind of area. And it's been respecting it nicely. So obviously had our swing low, and then not right off the bat a swing high, but definitely respected the EQ here of the range quite nicely a couple times as resistance, and then came up to the range high. So this is definitely our area of resistance right now at the moment. And we came back down to these range lows, and we've just tested them. Had a little bit of a bounce right now so far, but still nothing significant enough for me to say that we've bottomed. I think we'd really want to see a more significant move and get back above this previous level of support that we have broken down now below. So basically what I would want to see this is continue significantly up, like some sort of push like that, where we get back above this level right here. Basically get back above around 19.6 area. We need to get back above that, and then I'll start to consider this as potentially a little bit of a longer term bottom, I'll say, into the next kind of month or so. And we just haven't seen that yet. I mean, this is still a bearish structure. We're still definitely making lower highs and lower lows, and just not convinced yet that this is the bottom. So, with that said, what I was seeing though on some lower time frame was a bullish divergence. So I had drawn this out and shared it on my Twitter that we were seeing this basically play out on a lower time frame. Actually, we'll stick to 12 here. What time frame was it on? I think it was maybe 4 hour. So 4 hour chart here. We had a low made up here on August 19th, another low and another low, quite evenly spaced out, which we like to see. Definitely lower lows in price, but we were seeing this relative strength increasing. So basically a low here on August 19th, same time, and then of course our higher low and higher low. And so this is definitely a classic bullish divergence. This is what I was hoping to see on a higher time frame. Basically over here, one sec, let me just pull it up. Okay, so this is what I had shared out on my Twitter, that I wanted to see us dip down and potentially create a macro bullish divergence with another lower low here and another major high on RSI. So something like this, where you would have seen RSI kind of come down and make a higher low, and you would have basically come down in price and made a lower low in price. And so that's kind of what I was thinking, because this was just such a weak market. We had this ascending channel here and clearly broke down below it, and now I was really anticipating that we'd come back down low, and maybe this would be our potential actual bottom around 15,000, and I was looking for that. But then when I had zoomed in, I had looked actually on lower time frame, and I had noticed, I said, oh, okay, well, there's actually lower time frame that might be a bit too macro. There's a lower time frame bullish divergence playing out right now at this level. So I thought that was kind of interesting. It's just something to keep in mind at the moment. But again, so zoomed in here on low time frame here. This is the 2 hour chart. Yeah, it's a nice bounce right now. We've definitely have some sort of bottom forming here, right? The question is, how long is this going to take, basically? So for me to consider this to be a decent bottom for the short term to medium term, we need to get back above this level. We need to see some significant buyback, and we might be getting it at the moment right now, but we need to see shoot up and gain this level with a nice back test as support, and then it's off to the races. So around 19.6, 19.7 kind of area is really what I'm watching closely. Otherwise, this is just going to be a bearish retest, in my opinion, and we're going to potentially make new lows. So nothing to get too excited about. We've seen probably, what have we seen? This has been a, less than 5% move, and people are getting excited on Twitter. So I don't get it. I've been in this long enough that I don't get excited and start to assume that we've, just made a cycle bottom potentially, right? These things take a lot of time to play out. And even if this is our bottom, what I'd be targeting is the range high. If you took this long here, you'd have a few targets, in my opinion. Okay, so you'd have your first target probably, I don't reclaim it this as the range EQ, right around 21,600. That would be my first target, and then if we can break that, top of the range, 24,300 area, right? So just you'd want to mark out an area, obviously somewhat sort of order block here on a higher time frame. I think there's some wicks in here too, right? That's your sell area. If I'm taking this as a long and targeting the top of the range, okay? So now, if we do get a bit more of a macro bottom on high time frame, and this is, potentially our double bottom here, where we made our low here, retested it now, and this is going to be a longer term bottom, then obviously I'd be targeting this area next. Okay, so that is our next area of significant resistance. This is that previous bearish consolidation that we had. It's right around 30,000, 29,000. This is what a lot of people are talking about. Of course, that's just the next obvious place to look at if your targets you want to look left, right? That's all you can do. You can't look right. So basically that's where I'd be looking if you're targeting short term, and then maybe midterm I'd be targeting 30,000 kind of thing. So that's it kind of for now. If we do get an actual relief rally in this bear market, that is where I'd be looking at. This to me wouldn't be a relief rally. This is just still ranging, right? You're still within the range. You could bounce down here until the end of the year within this range. It's not a rally, in my opinion. A rally would be coming up and getting a break of this market structure. Okay, this bearish market structure, lower highs, and then once we finally make a higher high, that's your break. That's your breaker in the market structure. You're coming back up. You're on a true relief rally, in my opinion. Okay, and then just sharing this chart again as well, super quickly. I had marked this buy zone out and shared it on my Twitter, shared it on my YouTube. If you go back and watch, basically it was simple, right? So we just had, when we were up here, what can we do? We could just look left. So what are the obviously below this area, when we started breaking down, what's the next most obvious area to target if you're going short or to go for a long? It's the previous all-time highs. Okay, so that's all we had to play with, plus this little area of bullish consolidation that we had back in 2020 November, December area. So I had marked it out. We came all the way down. We wicked just to the bottom of my buy zone here. I was DCAing in this part, in these dips within this green zone. I'm DCAing, and then we got a bit of a relief rally here. Came up, rising wedge was bearish, broke out of it, obviously. And sorry, just in case you're not seeing that, right? Rising wedge was pretty bearish, broke down pretty heavily, and then came back down into my buy zone. And so we're in the buy zone again. I'm DCAing in. There's no reason to believe that this is just going to smash right through and continue downward, and there's no reason to believe that this is just the bottom. But again, like I said, if there's a chance that this is the cycle bottom, or we're really close to the cycle bottom, then I'm DCAing in. Okay, I'm doing it, and I think that it would obviously take a break below this macro low of 17,500 for me to stop DCAing, and then where would I be looking between that? Well, the wave one peak territory around just under 14,000. So yeah, 13,700 area, which is basically the peak of this high that we had, the first major impulse peak after the previous bear market, which led us, to our next wave. So that's how I'm playing it. It could be a double bottom, and then we're coming up to 30,000 beyond, and maybe that's our cycle bottom. We don't know, right? And so if there's a chance it's a cycle bottom, I'm taking the risk. I'm DCAing in. Anyways, the point was just to show you that we're back in the buy zone. I had bought back in here. We had a nice little move, 25 to 30% kind of move. Didn't sell anything, wasn't trading it. This was a long-term position that I'm buying in this buy zone. That's why I'm dollar cost averaging. There are other trades on alts that I was making in the meantime, but as far as Bitcoin goes, this is, again, we're back in this area. So no reason to believe that, it's not going to act as support again. Now, something I like to check in on, every so often is Bitcoin dominance. I'm sure everyone's familiar with it. So basically, this is dominance compared to the crypto market of Bitcoin. And so, yeah, it's obviously quite weak. It's coming, it's had a steady sell-off for quite some time now, since June. And I think, if this were to play out and we were to get a macro bottom with Bitcoin, this, you can't trade dominance, but you can, in theory, you can use it. We'll call it an indicator, but essentially we're getting down to the point where Bitcoin dominance is getting down to support, right? So if it comes down to support and Bitcoin dominance has a major spike, alts are going to take a hit and Bitcoin's likely going to pump in price, right? So if Bitcoin dominance comes up to around here and Bitcoin leads the way, then we're going to see a major buyback in Bitcoin, major pump in Bitcoin, or relatively major pump in Bitcoin. It'll lead the way kind of thing. And then I could see after that, if Bitcoin, then kind of starts to chill out a little bit, maybe it has a temporary top, and then alts get a bit of a run, right? As dominance starts to come back down, alts then take the lead, and then alts follow Bitcoin, right? So then at that point, you'd have to reevaluate. I'm not going to draw lines too far into the future here, but basically, to see all-time highs in altcoins is we want to see a new low in Bitcoin dominance, right? We want to see a break of these lows for alts to really fly and make all-time highs. That's what we saw back here in 2017, at the peak, right? As soon as Bitcoin basically bottomed out on Bitcoin dominance, this is when altcoins flew, right? Coming back down here, this is when altcoins flew on these major drops, right? And then it bottomed out. And of course, everything had our bear market. But that's kind of what I'm seeing on Bitcoin dominance. I could see that playing out right now is Bitcoin kind of first taking the lead and then altcoins following in the short term after. So anyways, that's it for today's video. Thanks for joining. Hopefully it was helpful. Please do support the channel if you enjoyed this video by liking and subscribing. You can follow me on Twitter at CryptoVatsik as well. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks. Bye.